Hi guys. So I just had this thought, and I wanted to share this with you guys. I was just now, just this second, watching. One sec. I was just now, just a second, watching uh, the psychological significance of the biblical series of the biblical stories by Jordan Peterson, episode 4, or I mean lecture 4. Sorry. And something clicked in my head. I was trying, like, I've been dealing with this problem for quite a long time, um, but just now it clicked, and I thought I'd make a video talk about it. So I did Jordan Peterson's future authoring program, and I've been doing a lot of self development work, lots of spirituality, lots of meditation, lots of introspection, and lots of writing. You know, I did a lot of that work. And looking back on the projection of my life throughout this several year period, things have gotten so much better. I almost cry just thinking about it because it's really overwhelming how great things have gotten. But whenever I think of what caused this, what is making my life better, what is it? How can I pinpoint it? How can I like what deserves the credits for this change? I usually think it's just general introspection. I think also that it's telling the truth. And those are both true, they're just not true enough. There's something underlying them. Um, Let me see if I can sit down like this. All right. So, this is better. Okay. Um, and I keep thinking to myself, like I have these voices in my head that ask me questions and tell me things. So this one voice is saying stuff like, "What has meditation done for you?" I mean, you meditate, you think it's great and all that, but what, like, your life is still the same. You're not doing any better at work. Although I am, but he tells me that as if he's a person that doesn't see the difference in my work, because the difference in my work isn't that drastic, and it's not, it hasn't changed drastically, so much so that it's very alarming. Now, things have gotten better in my work. I've been more productive, and I've been getting more responsibility at work and all of that. But it's possible for someone to see me, to have observed my projection in my life, and not think that that's drastic enough to alarm suspicion of something great happening. You know, they just think, yeah, you're working harder, or yeah, you don't have college because I'm still in my summer holiday, and you have nothing else going on in your life, so you can focus on this one thing, and of course you're going to do better if you work on it harder. And so there's other perspectives that would tell me that meditation hasn't really affected and impacted my life, not in any not in any real and significant way. And so I have these voices that attack my ideas from all different directions. But just now, the thing that clicked in my head that I want to talk about here is the underlying force that has pushed my life upward throughout this period. It's something I activated in the beginning. Um, and it was a promise. It's not a promise I made, it's a promise that was made to me. So you'll hear in religion that like these kinds of profound ideas that following like following this belief system, if you believe this, if you believe that, if you act this out, if you don't sin, if you worship God, if you do those things, if you pray regularly, if you do all this crap, that your life will get better and you'll go to heaven. And so there's a lot of promises associated with following the religion, right? That of believing in that religion, right? And there's similar kinds of promises uh, associated with the future authoring program. The future authoring program says, follow through this program, do it honestly, do it truthfully, put some effort into it, take it seriously, blah blah blah. There's constraints to how you do it, and there's do this thing along with the constraint, like within the constraints given to you, and there's a promise at the end that your life will get better and stuff like that, right? I did the future authoring program, and once again, my life hasn't really gotten better. I mean, I did it like twice, maybe 3 times, and I set the plans. I take it extremely seriously. I invest my full effort into it. I give it my all. I give it all that I have to offer. Put it in this one box and just ship it out. Take it extremely seriously. Okay, put all my investments into it and really just give it the biggest punch I have to offer. And I fail at 95% of the goals I set for myself. And then I think, what the hell is this doing for me? I just made promises to myself and I did nothing. And then soon after that, basically I dropped the whole thing. All my goals, I dropped all of them. And so that was a complete catastrophic failure. And then I tried the feature authoring program again the next time with newer plans, given that I've had some experience and I've gained some wisdom. I do this again, and once again I failed like 90% of the whole thing, crash and burn out. I just stopped the whole thing soon after. I just give up. And this happened in a period of 7 months, 8 months, something like that. It's vague in my head. But it's somewhere like less than a year. I did all this and I did these 2 future authoring programs in less than a year. But I started my spiritual journey, let's say, long before that. I've focused on meditation, therapy. I did a ton of therapy for like 2 years. It was crazy. I did a lot of therapy. And so I did everything that I was told, okay, from trusted sources, obviously, that if you do this, your life will get better, and you'll be going down the path towards heaven, right? And that's a huge promise. It's not something you just, put to the side. It's a serious promise. Let me take a breath. So okay, let me get to the point here. I don't want to ramble too much. Let me get to the point. So the thing is this amazing thing that I think most people don't have their minds wrapped around, which is extremely important. Like, you have to have this in your head. It's extremely important. It's at the heart of everything, is that when you start your spiritual journey, and you start meditating, and you put effort to transcending your life, transcending your situation, transcending your emotion, just transcendence over shit in general, just growing, expanding your horizons, expanding your being, keeping in mind the 7 deadly sins in Christianity, just keeping in mind pride. Just don't be prideful. That's bad. You might not know how and why that's bad, but it's bad, and you can trust that. And keeping in mind gluttony, and like those are the 2, and the third one that I struggle with a lot. Lust. There's one more. God, I should remember this. I don't remember this. I gotta look this up real quick. 7 deadly sins Christianity, because there's an anime called 7 Deadly Sins, and I want to search for Christianity 7 Deadly Sins. Well, what do you know? My internet is really slow. Okay, this is why I should research and prepare my notes ahead of time. Yeah. So anyway, there's these 7 deadly sins, and you want to keep them in mind. Like, you want to make sure you don't make those sins. You will, of course. Oh, greed. That's the one. Envy too. So those are the 7 deadly sins, right? They're not a joke. Okay, you have to take them seriously. There's a reason that out of all the bad things that you as a human can do, including all the demons within you, can do, there's 7 that rise above all of them, and these 7 are the worst, because you should keep them in mind. You don't want to be drowned in gluttony and envy and greed and lust, and then wonder what the hell's wrong with you. What the hell's wrong with life? Why is life so horrible? Why are you depressed and shit? Take a look at yourself. You're drowned in the 7 deadly sins. And these are the worst of sins. You can lie once, that's kind of acceptable, right? That's not going to ruin your life. But being full of pride, I promise you, will bite you in the ass in ways you don't even see, right? It's forces that you don't see. That's the promise of spirituality, is that spirituality helps kind of dial them down. Anyway, so that's a tangent, and I'm sorry. So, bottom line, for God's sake, let me get to the point. Is that when you start your spiritual journey, when you take this seriously, you put honest effort, the kind of effort that people generally don't see immediately on the surface. Honest efforts, serious effort, real efforts, not lying, and behaving in a way and acting in a way such that you can always tell the truth, and keeping that up, always telling the truth, and meditating. So meditation is no joke. Take it seriously because it's real. And therapy, because pretty much everyone needs therapy to some degree. Okay? You do all those things. And stuff like the future authoring program, because that is a guided way of actively planning your life and actively thinking about how your life is going and how you want it to go and how you are making it go in the direction you want it to go. But doing that actively, not passively, just overthinking stuff. No, actively and seriously. Doing those things, it will, the promise is real. It will make your life better. It will take you down the path towards heaven. It will do that. But the thing is, it's not going to happen immediately. It's not going to happen tomorrow or the day after. It might not even happen this year, but it will happen. And this whole thing about faith, about having faith, it's real. Because the faith comes when, in times where you ask a question and you get the urge to tell something, and then internally your conscience pops out and says, that's a lie, be careful, that's not true, and you know it. And in that moment, your conscious mind says, that's a lie, I know, but if I tell the truth, this bad thing is going to happen. This bad thing is it's usually an inconvenience to you, or oh my god, I have to do all this work and I don't want to do that. I'll just tell them this little white lie so I can not do all that hours of work, you know. And that's understandable, right? Nobody wants to do hours of work that's not even interesting, right? In those times, in those moments, they happen throughout the day, and they're so small that you could even forget them in a few seconds later. They're really small. But in those moments, faith comes into play. And what that means is you must have faith of the promise that if you continue to abide by the rules, to avoid the sins, to take this seriously, and to put in the honest effort into this, even if nobody sees it, even if you don't even see it, but it's honest, it's real, and it's a conscious effort. Okay, if you honestly do that, then you will then you'll be headed down the path towards heaven, and things will improve. In those moments, you have every reason to lie, but that's when faith comes into play. In those moments, you need faith. If the cost of telling the truth is small, then you only need a little bit of faith. But if the cost gets big, which it inevitably will, the more you do this, the larger the cost, because you'll get deeper and deeper into situations where you are inadequate, and you should have done this and this and that, but you haven't, because you're not perfect. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna be put in those situations, and then you're gonna have to ask yourself, do you really want to tell the truth and risk losing your job, risk losing your identity, risk losing your family, risk losing your ego, risk losing your sense of worth and value? Are you willing to risk all of that for honesty and truth? In those moments, like the the risk is so big that any sane person would say no. But you should be better than a sane person. You should be a faithful person. Have faith that even though this is going away, in the future will bring you something better. You have no way of seeing how something better will come your way. You have no way of predicting it. You can try, you can tell yourself you can, but you can't. Honest to God, you just can't. You're a human being. You have your limitations and boundaries. And beyond those boundaries, you have to have faith. And faith is basically just giving it something with no guarantee of something in return, but still you trust it. You trust it even though there's no tangible guarantees like a contract. You know, that's faith. And so in times where it's easier to tell a white lie, you have to have faith that that telling the truth, the honest truth, will somehow yield you a better result. That's faith. And you have to keep it up, even though you're losing hope in that you're getting nothing back. You will eventually. You don't know how, but you have to take this leap of faith. It's just the way things are, as far as I can tell from my life experience so far. Is that that's what faith means. It's not just believing in something you have no reason to believe in, otherwise you go to hell. That's not faith. That's just not faith. Faith is trusting in the promise of telling truth is good, lying is bad. Even if you see it otherwise, you trust this anyway. And you do this anyway. Even if every part of your body says no, telling the truth this time is wrong. You have every reason to think that in some cases, but having faith, having strong faith, it's going to be like a challenge or a comparison. How much faith do you have in God or in human wisdom, in humanity's collective wisdom over the time period over the time span that we've existed and have been writing and documenting our wisdom and wise experiences, let's say, or your faith in heaven, whatever it is that you believe in, the bottom line, whatever it is you believe in, your faith in that compared to the risk that you have to take for taking this leap of faith. The risk sometimes is higher than your faith, and that's when you will make a mistake. That's when you will sin. That's my understanding, and that's been my experience so far. Everything I'm telling you right now matches 100% with my experience. I've been watching myself like a hawk, and everything I told you matches one-to-one with my experience so far. And honest to God, I cannot possibly express how much my life has gotten better by following these rules, let's say. Telling the truth, no matter the cost. Putting in honest effort, no matter the situation. And it has to be honest within myself. Again, it has to align with something deep inside you that no other human sees or has access to. It's something extremely private, and you win or lose within yourself. Like if you lie, that means you're lying to yourself, not to other people. If you tell the truth, you're strengthening your own truth-telling muscle, let's say. And so, like, honest effort doesn't mean that people think you put effort. Honest effort means you believe you put in as much effort as you could have put in. That's honest effort. Telling the truth doesn't mean telling something that's factually correct. Telling the truth means telling what you honestly believe, what you honestly think. If you know that what you think is probably not the objective factual truth, then you must clarify that in your communication also. Because if you don't, then you're misleading whoever you're talking to into thinking that what you're saying is what you believe to be the objective factual truth, which you know it is not. So it's communicating the full idea that you have. You know, that's honesty. It's not holding back. It's not misleading or deluding or deceiving the other person. And there's this idea in Islam where we're focused on deed, and deed like the unit of good action, I think, something like that. It's deed. It's the action plus the pure intention associated with this action, and those two go together. It's not just the intention that matters. And so if you have the purest of intentions, but your work doesn't reflect that, or maybe it does reflect that you have good intentions, but you're not doing anything that's actually good, then you're not doing anything good. The intention itself is not enough. If you're doing good things, but your intention is it's let's say let's say for example, you're helping someone, but not because you honestly want their life to be better or that you actually want to help them, but because you want them to give you money, and all you give a shit about is the money. And it's not a completely good thing. It's lacking. The action itself is not enough. The words you say are not enough. The objective manifestation of your decisions and actions are not enough. It's that combined with the deep intention, the pure intention. Those things go together as one. And people often don't combine them. They either do this or they do that. Because when they do this, they think that they can neglect this because this doesn't objectively matter, because they have this idea that objective reality is reality and our subjective reality is an illusion and it doesn't matter, which is it's not true. It's just it has some factual accuracy in there, but the fact that it doesn't matter is completely false. And you can kind of think it doesn't matter that it doesn't matter, but that's not the topic of this video. So again, I just want to reiterate this because this is really, really important. The promised land of heaven is true, but it's not. It doesn't happen after you physically die. The promise itself is that if you're a good person, and you have to know what being a good person means, because you probably don't already know. Um, you have to make sure that that your understanding is good, is correct. And if you tell the truth, and you have to know what it means to tell the truth, and what is true. What does truth mean? You don't have to think about this right now all the time, but just be honest with yourself and follow your conscience. Don't rebel against your conscience, Okay, align yourself with it. And if you do those, and you make sure you don't sin, and you have to know what sin means, because what does it mean to sin? Does having premarital sex is that a sin? Not really, not exactly. It's not that black and white. It really isn't. It's more complicated. It's more complicated than that. It's not that simple. There's more to it than that. It's not just about sex. It's not just about sex. There's so much more to it than that. And why is that a sin exactly? I mean, sure, it causes society to break apart, but does it really? How do you know that? Anyway, and so if you're a good person and you're honest and you tell the truth and you put in hard, honest work, again, it's extremely important that you keep in mind honest work. Those two go together. They are one thing. Okay? Honest work. It's not just that when you work you don't lie or deceive. It's that you do it honestly. I'm not sure how I can express that. I'm not sure how I can put that into words. It's difficult. deep down, I'm not gonna try to install knowledge and wisdom in everyone's mind. I keep trying to be that idealistic and perfectionistic, but that doesn't work. So right now, I'm just reminding myself in the moment right now that I cannot make everybody know exactly what I'm talking about. But basically, the bottom line is, you know, when you're not putting in your full honest effort. Deep down, you know it, and that's probably what the conscience is, and what it does. You know, if you put in the honest work, it doesn't show today, it doesn't show tomorrow, and I promise you, it probably won't show next month. It might even not show next year, but eventually, and the more you do it, the better. Eventually, it will come to you. I don't know how, I don't know when. It might be tomorrow. You have no idea. You cannot predict it. It's too much beyond our ability to predict and understand. But I'm just trying here to emphasize the importance of honest work. People sense it. I don't know how, but we naturally have the ability to sense when someone is being deceitful or not. It's extremely difficult to lie and fake this. You cannot fake honest work. You can't. You, you think you can get away with it, but I promise you, you can't. You can't get away with deceit like that. There's nothing better than honest hard work. It it pays off great dividends. It truly pays off, like you wouldn't possibly imagine. And you'll never know exactly what I'm talking about unless you do this. This is not a game you can play one foot in. You have to be all in to play this game. You have to be all in not sinning. Whatever sin means, you have to know what that means. Otherwise, you're going to keep sinning and you think that you're not sinning. That's not how that works. Uh, you have to know what that means, and you have to know what telling the truth means. And when are you lying? And when are you not lying? Because I honestly believe, I fully believe this, that in my life, I've lied more than I thought I did. I've deceived people more than I thought I did. Because it doesn't always happen consciously. Most of the time it does, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it really doesn't. Because basically, if I communicate something to you that is not, I can't, I can't, I can't break it down into a general rule or a general statement. I can't. I keep trying to do that, but I keep failing at breaking it down into a general statement. But I can't. I guess, and I keep coming back at this. I guess the best I can do to help explain this to you and communicate this to you is you already know when you're lying. You always know if you truly want to know and you ask yourself, you know if you're lying or not. Don't worry about the society's definition of lying and what people think lying is. Don't worry about that. You know deep down if you deceived someone or if you told them the full truth. You know that. You must abide by that. You must abide by that no matter the cost. There are extremely rare cases in which not abiding by that is better than abiding by it. And especially there's special cases. So in Islam, we have I think 3 cases or 2 cases because I only remember 2 where it's acceptable to lie, or actually I think it's preferred that you lie, but they are white lies I think. So one case that I was taught is if your wife is asking you if let's say this new necklace looks pretty on her, you tell her yes, she looks beautiful, because in those times just tell her she's beautiful. Okay, tell her she looks nice. Tell her she looks pretty. Don't tell her no, that color looks shit on you. Don't do that. If I remember it correctly, so don't take my words as an honest, complete reflection of Islam. It's not, but that's what I understood, and that would make sense. I mean, oftentimes when you're, I mean, when your wife mean, what the hell do I know about wife? Never mind. I'm not married. I'm single, for God's sake. Anyway, and and the other case is when you're at war, and your your fellow soldier is asking you, "Can we win this war?" Something like that. It's something to do with wartime. You tell them, "Yes, we can and we will," with confidence. Something like that. It's got something to do with war, and the other one has something to do with love and marriage and your wife and stuff like that. With her being pretty. I remember specifically has to do with her being pretty or not. You always say yes, but you also don't like out. Anyway, I don't know anything about that, but that's what I remember. So there, the point is, there are some cases where it's acceptable to lie, but they're extremely rare cases, and you know in the moment without a shred of doubt that in that case, this is what you should say. In those cases, they're extremely obvious. You don't think about it; you just know it. So in most cases, in almost all cases, tell the truth. I can tell you from experience that sometimes it will cost you an arm and a leg to tell it the truth, and it seems like it's not worth it, and you have every reason not to. In that moment, it like your consciousness and your experience of reality just is uh, is extremely heightened. Like like you, you you experience a single moment in which you decide whether or not you should tell the truth. You experience it like it's a full day, and then in that moment you have to make a decision. Do you tell the truth and abide by truth, and abide by God, and abide by the laws of nature, and abide by the spirit, the future, the spirit of the future of humanity? Do you abide by your conscience? Do you abide by that? Do you abide by the overall the what's best for the collective humanity, or do you tell a little bit of a white lie and hope you'll get away with it, and hope it doesn't bite you in the ass when you are walking away? In those moments, you have to make that decision, and it will boil down. Like when you're thinking and comparing things, at the end of the day, it will boil down to one thing: how much faith do you have in that if you tell the truth, it'll be better somehow? The, the more faith you have in that, the more likely you are to tell the truth, and the full truth, and nothing but the truth, and the more likely you are to do that, uh, regardless of the size of the cost and the risk. From my personal experience, keep in mind I'm a 23-year-old university student who has had a part-time job for 2 years and a couple more months. So about almost no 2 years and like 2 months, something like that. So my lifetime experience is very limited in terms of time, but not in terms of the quality of the experience. I think. Anyway, just keep that in mind. I'm not God here. All right, just keep that in mind. If you tell the truth, and if you're honest, and if you abide by your conscience, and you pay the price for that, because the price, it's not going to be negligible. I mean, it's cost. It one of the truths that I'm abiding by has literally cost me, okay, not literally, but it's cost me an arm and a leg. It's painful. It is extremely painful that sometimes I cannot sleep at night. Sometimes I have to cry myself just to sleep, just to let those emotions out so I can rest for the night. Sometimes I just, like in some moments of the day where I think about the cost and the price I paid, I just freeze. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to talk to. And there's this little doubt in the back of my head that all this faith bullshit that I've been talking about this whole video, it's all bullshit. There's always this doubt in the back of my head that says, you made a huge mistake telling the truth. You made a huge mistake believing in this crap. You invested so much in it, but it's all bullshit. It's all a lie. It's all a deception. It's not true. And you will pay the price later. That much I can promise you. It's like this little voice in the back of my head that just screams all the fucking time. And in those moments when I'm feeling particularly down, his voice is the only thing I hear. Just telling me, you made a huge mistake cutting off your arm and cutting off your leg. For what? You don't see anything around you that's any better, do you? There's just doubt in the back of my head, and I believe everyone has this little bit of doubt, no matter how much faith you have. There's always a little bit of like a little inkling of a doubt, just a little bit, and that is highlighted in bad moments of your life. So, I have paid dearly for the truth. I've gone all out with the truth, telling the truth as much as I can, doing everything honestly, and like a side effect that happened from just being honest and telling the truth. It's a weird thing. You would not expect this to happen, but I discovered something that my psyche is made up of a bunch of autonomous components. And let's say one of the components is anger. Another component is addiction. Another component is lust. Another component is another addiction, and so on. One component says, I must do this, I must do that, I must do that. So ambitious, so pushing me hard to follow schedules and just do things. I must do this, I must do that. I have choice. I have responsibilities. I have to do this. I have to spend my day doing all those things. And this component just screams at me, telling me I'm not doing anything. I'm an idiot. I need to do this and this and that. It's just this component doesn't shut up. And this other component that says I don't want to do any of this. I want to just do whatever I want to do. I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want to schedule. I don't want to know what's going to happen 2 seconds from now. I just want to do whatever I feel like doing in the moment with no regard for the future or my life or my responsibilities. And so those two compete all the time, right? They're always at each other's throats. They're always like that. And by telling myself the truth, and by telling the truth in general, I discovered that part of telling the truth is being honest about my capabilities and my abilities. And the fact that I cannot study for 3 hours straight. That cannot happen. I can try, but I know I'll fail. There's no doubt there. I know for a fact I will fail. I cannot do it for 3 hours. That's not studying. So I also started to become honest with myself that studying for 3 hours straight, it's not studying. Telling myself that is studying, that's a lie. That's deception. By just being honest and truthful in general, I accidentally became truthful with myself, which includes being honest with myself about those things. And again, I discovered that. I mean, sorry, my mind just went blank for just a moment there, but by being honest with myself about those things, I discovered this. Okay, I didn't actually discover it myself. I got it from Jordan Peterson, but I understood it properly. I absorbed it and I used it, and it works. Which is that I have 2 autonomous components of my psyche operating autonomously within me, and each of them wants something different than the other. So by being honest about what this can get and what this can get, I can negotiate between them, come up with a contract that they both have to follow, and then they both get something rather than nothing. So with how that manifests itself in my real life is, so one component says I have to study for 20 hours straight, right? Something really ambitious and unrealistic. And this other component says, no, I want to binge watch Netflix for 20 hours straight, which is also ridiculous, right? So the contract between them manifested itself in my life as I study for 1 hour, and then I work, and then I do whatever I want for 1 hour, and then I study for 1 hour and cycle between them. The thing that keeps them in check and not, aggressive, is that this guy gets 1 hour, and then while this guy gets 1 hour, this guy doesn't get anything, but he's waiting for his hour to come, and he knows that. Knowing that his hour is coming allows him to stay calm until his hour comes, right? And so this guy gets 1 hour, and then I switch to this guy. This guy gets his hour, and while this guy gets his hour, this guy waits. He waits and doesn't do anything because he understands that his hour, he already got something, and he should be proud. He should be happy about that, and that his hour, his next hour is gonna come in 1 hour. So he's fine, and then he's fine, and then at the end of the day, I did what I wanted to do. I had fun. I watched Netflix. I ate crap, and then I did the studying that I wanted to do, also that I had to do also. And then looking back on it, the way I spent my whole day is I got the best of both worlds. I studied effectively, and I had fun effectively. It's not just passive watching crap, whatever. No, because I had 1 hour, and I somehow became actively focused, right? I somehow became actively focused, and it was more fun. It was more fun. It was more pleasant, let's say. So, I just wanted to talk about this. This is a 14-minute video. If you've made it to the end of the video, leave a comment saying so. I would love to know if anybody watches the whole video and actually pays attention to what I've been saying. Because right now, at this moment, I'm expecting nobody to be watching all this. Because I started the video talking about one topic, and I talked about random stuff all over the place. At least I think I went off in many tangents. I don't see your perspective as the viewer. I see my perspective as the video maker, let's say, or the vlogger. And it's not the same perspective at all. It's like we see different things. I make the video, you watch the video, but the video that we think of are two separate things entirely. Yeah. But I just wanted to emphasize the importance of the values and the wisdom in religion. Even if you don't believe in the religion itself, that doesn't fucking matter. The religion doesn't care if you believe it or not. No, it's the people that care. People give a shit, but the religion itself doesn't give a flying fuck. Nobody gives a shit. And you shouldn't care either. It doesn't matter. It really does not matter. It's completely arbitrary and it doesn't matter. If you believe in Islam, look, if you believe in Islam, you also believe in Christianity and Judaism. And the rights, actually, look, if you believe in Islam, you should believe in the right lessons and values and the truth and the true lessons and values in Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, and all other religions. Yeah. So let's say that you're a Muslim. If a Christian man comes and tells you, "Thou shalt not steal," I don't know if that's a literal line in the Bible somewhere, but if he says something like that, obviously he means something like "don't steal," right? It's that stealing is bad. Now, just because he believes in Christianity doesn't mean that what he's saying and what values he believes in are somehow false. They're not. They're just the same as the values that we have in Islam. Stealing is bad. How can anyone possibly disagree with that? And fundamentally, you as a fellow human being have all the core values in Islam and Christianity. It's in your conscience. If you look within, you can find everything there. But the purpose of the holy text, as far as I understand things, is that is that instead of you having to do all the painful, hard work of introspection and meditating and thinking about things, instead of being a productive and actively productive member of society and producing and pushing the agenda of the economy, you know, instead of doing that, you meditate and do all that. Instead of you doing that, the, the whole spiritual work, the holy texts are there like such that you don't have to do all the hard work, so that you can focus on something else. In a way, you can compare the holy texts to a framework, like a software development framework. So, so because they give you this thing that it's just giving you power, it's just giving you knowledge. It's handing you the result of a lot of hard work, right? So it's supposed to articulate the lessons from the perspective of someone who has done all of this spiritual work. And so the Prophet Muhammad, I'm just gonna say what I think is true. I'm not asserting this is true, but this is what I think is true. The Prophet Muhammad, uh, he was very highly spiritual, obviously, and he rose to such a high level, obviously higher than my current level, for example, and he gave us lessons. Like I can see his, I can read his quotes, stuff he said, words he uttered, right? And stuff, actions he took, stuff like decisions he made. I can look at those and learn from them, and then I can like bear the fruits from his tree. Bear this bear the fruits of a tree that can only be planted and can only grow on such a transcendentally high level. And that is what the holy texts are. That's it's supposed to help you with that. And so that and so the point is that the point I'm trying to make here is that all the holy texts share a lot of commonalities. Not all of them are equal, not all of them are the same. They're very different, but they share a lot of fundamental core commonalities. Right? There's stuff that are universal, and apply those. Don't worry about the stuff in the peripherals and the corners over here and over there. Don't worry about any of that. Just take the fundamental stuff. The fundamentals include stuff like don't lie, don't take what isn't yours, which is stealing, don't kill, don't have, don't be malicious, like don't have deliberate intentions to harm other people. Obviously, that's bad. Help someone who needs help. Obviously, that's good. But also, from wisdom, I have learned to be careful when helping other people, because the thing is that you want to be careful when you help someone else. So you want to help someone who wants your help. Again, I don't want to go into that. It's a 50-minute video. I've gone off on like 20 tangents for fuck's sake. So anyway, every time I make a video, it usually has the intention that it's going to be focused. That I'm not going to go off on tangents this time. That I'm going to keep it short and focused and concise. And then something like this happens. 50 minutes of me rambling. I mean, anyway, so I swear to God, this will be the last thing I'm going to say in this video, and I have to shut this video off because otherwise I'm going to keep talking for 20 hours. So I recently learned this very important lesson. It's a very, very important and profound lesson. And I'm fairly certain that telling you this now will not make any sense to you, or it's not going to make a lot of sense to you. Because it's something that you will only learn after you apply it. And again, remember, you have to be all in to apply this and learn this. You can't be 1 foot in the ground. You have to be all in. Now, this lesson is it's the promise of spiritual work and transcendence, like spiritually transcending, whatever that means. It's hard. I have some understanding of it, but enlightenment in general, like going towards enlightenment and taking the religions, the big religions like Christianity, Islam, Judaism, taking those seriously. Of course, I didn't learn anything from I didn't know much about Judaism, but I've learned a bunch from Christianity. It's just an amazing thing. Islam too, don't neglect that one. It's no joke. It's a very serious religion. And Buddhism, I love Buddhism. They have so much wisdom, but it's ironically a very grounded religion because it feels very human. It feels very relatable. Anyway. So if you take those seriously and you try honestly to understand their core message, what they mean, what they're trying to say, not what they sound like on the surface, but what they're really trying to say, and you introspect and you reflect on that. So what do you expect? This isn't a toy you play with that you see on the surface, and if it's not fun, you walk away. No, this is real life. And keep in mind, YOLO. You only live once, and that's not a joke. That's not a joke. You only live once. And so your spirituality, your eternal soul, you have to take it seriously. And the most important things are the religions in the world, the big religions, Islam, Christianity, the Abrahamic religions. And I would put Buddhism in there just because it's amazing. I think it's got a lot to offer the modern world. And like you really learn from them, and you have to keep in mind this one thing is what kept me going. God, whatever God is, knows everything, whatever that means. But God knows everything. If you lie deep down, deep down, something that nobody ever sees, if you deceive even a teeny tiny little bit, God counts that. Somehow. It will somehow be reflected in the world. Somehow. Nobody knows how. Nobody knows even if it ever was. But repeating that over and over again, it'll have a tremendous impact on the rest of your life. And so, doing the opposite, which is putting in full effort, honest effort, I cannot stop emphasizing the importance of honesty. Honesty in speech, honesty in belief, honesty in work. They're extremely important. They are at the heart of everything. If you lie, everything breaks instantly. Okay, not instantly, it takes time because it's such a tremendously large system. But if you lie, everything breaks. Everything somehow breaks. Frustration will drown you. So, God, for God's sakes, keep. Anyway, so you take those religions seriously, the core messages, you take those seriously. You put in the honest effort into giving the religions their due, doing your homework, learning, understanding, reflecting, meditating, understanding what meditation means. You probably don't already understand it. And there's just one thing, one last thing, I promise you, and I will shut this video off. So, there's just quotes. I think it would be great if I can find it. There we go. This is a quote by Jordan Peterson. I think it's Jordan Peterson who said this. Maybe he's quoting someone else. I can't remember. But it's just a profound sentence. It's a profound statement. This might be the sentence I'm most in love with. And this is the statement. Evil is the force that believes its knowledge is complete. Evil is the force that believes its knowledge is complete. So you have to keep in mind, at every point of the way, no matter what you know, no matter how old you are, no matter what you've done, no matter what you've been through, no matter what you've experienced, no matter what you've read, no matter what has happened to you, no matter what people have said, no matter what miracles have happened around you, no matter how special you are, no matter how genetically gifted you are, no matter how high your divine IQ is, no matter how intelligent you are, you must know that your knowledge is not complete. You must keep that in mind. You must. That is a definitive requirement. There's no way around this. You have to keep that in mind. Your knowledge is not complete. And that will always be the case for the rest of your life. Your knowledge will never be complete. And that's a blessing if you know how to see it as a blessing. If you think your knowledge is complete on any level, on any topic, that's bad. That's so bad. I don't know how to articulate it, but I can intuitively see how that's horrible. It causes so many problems. I see around me people that have this firm belief that their knowledge is complete, and I see just sometimes I see how that manifests itself in their life and how that reflects in their life, and I see those manifestations of that belief, how those manifestations fuck their lives up like you wouldn't imagine in ways they do not see. They're too blind to see it, and like everyone has these blind spots, and those blind spots are where your deceptions manifest themselves, or where your belief in that your knowledge is complete manifest themselves. Like, just keep that in mind. Okay, evil is the force that believes its knowledge is complete. That's a very wise statement. That's a very wise thing to say. That's a very, very, very wise thing. I don't understand how someone could have come up with that, but damn, that is so true. It is so true. It is so true. No human's knowledge is complete, and you must keep that in mind for your sake and for everyone else's sake. And so, while you do your homework and everything, keep in mind that you don't know everything. You don't know enough to have an accurate enough judgment of something like religion. Anyway, I promise I will shut the camera off, so I'll shut it right now. If you watched to the end of this video, thank you. And thank you because that means that my rambling is interesting enough for someone to spend an hour on, and that I have something to say. And that what I have to say is valuable to someone out there. And yeah, just please, if you watch to the end of the video, comment saying that, because I would love to know if somebody has watched to the end of the video. I would love to know that. I don't care about how many people. I don't care about how many people have clicked on the video. Although it would be nice to see the large number of views. But if people watch toward the very end, that is extremely meaningful to me. But I'm expecting that no one's gonna watch to the end of the video, because that's just ridiculous. Who would spend an hour on a stranger's rambling? Anyway, thank you for watching to the end of the video, and have a good life.